You are listening to the CADDle Call Podcast. This is the place where computer-aided design and drafting meets humor and practicality, with a touch of business acumen thrown in for fun. Jim and Rocco, the owners of ZenTek Consultants, the premier U.S. technology consulting firm for architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing, discuss the fascinating world of CAD with some humor and some honesty. The CADDle Call Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the CADDle Call Podcast. I almost missed the cow sound button there. With Rocco and Jim from ZenTek Consultants. I am Jim. I am your silly and obviously unequipped host. And with me, as always, is my partner.
It's Rocco.
Who is also unequipped, but he's not silly or fun. And that's why I make you all suffer through the engineering joke of the week. Okay, ready, Rocco?
I'm ready.
You ready for this? Okay, so why do engineers usually have very successful marriages?
Why?
They're used to the stress of working with complex, unstable systems. Huh?
Wow.
All right, that's Rocco's joke. And if his wife asked, he was the one who told it. So, oh, do not tell my wife. All right, folks. So we have a first-time guest on the show today. We have Dave Knowles, who is the founder and CEO of TopBuilder, the leading CRM system in the construction world, is here with us today. So, Dave, thanks for taking the time to chat with our listeners, man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. So today I want to get into what I think is a really dramatically underutilized process in the construction world, and that is the customer relationship management, or the CRM system. And Dave really does have the most powerful system out there for this particular market, and I want to get his input on this topic. But first, let's learn a little bit about the man himself. So Dave, what should listeners know about your background and what led you to starting TopBuilder, and how long has the company been around?
Yeah, well, so this actually started quite a while ago, back in the 1980s. I got a degree in mechanical engineer. And my plan was to be an engineer and to work construction as an engineer. And obviously as a specialty contractor doing mainly HVAC work. But I also had a background and some experience in the roofing business here in good old hot Houston, Texas.
The hottest place on the planet.
Yeah, I think that could be correct. But the career of engineering was fascinating to me, and solving problems for people, and construction has just always been very, very fascinating to me, which is why I chose that career path. But my career took an interesting turn. Back in the late 80s, you couldn't get a degree in computer science. So Arthur Andersen, which is now Accenture, came hunting for engineers or scientists or math majors, and recruited them into their consulting and their software organizations. And they somehow found me and offered me a job. So I switched from engineering and construction into the world of consulting and software. And that was an interesting turn of events, but those turn of events also led me to the CRM world, and where I became the CRM manager for Hewlett-Packard, their global CRM manager, and I spent 11 years as the global CRM manager for HP. So having that combined skill set to bring the CRM for construction together with the engineering background, construction background, was a natural transition into starting TopBuilder.
There you go. So as you can see, folks, Dave's got just a little bit of background in this space. So that's why we have him here. He's the man to talk to.
It'd be really weird.
Yeah. There you go. So look, to my mind, people in the construction world dramatically underestimate the need for a CRM like TopBuilder. I think there is still a lingering belief or viewpoint in our industry, left over from decades ago, that, all you need to do to succeed is to just, do a good job, right? And while that is really, really important, it is not enough to grow and nurture your business in the modern world. You need to hunt, you need to find clients, and you've got to keep in touch with them, and you got to track how are your bids and your projects and your interactions with them are progressing, right? And 1,000 other things just in order to be competitive in the modern construction world. And that's where a CRM system really comes to our rescue. So Dave, let me ask you this, who is the typical TopBuilder customer, right? And why is it important for them to get involved with a CRM, right? What benefit, I guess, does a system like TopBuilder provide?
Sure. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes, construction folks, they'll ask me, what is a CRM? What does it do? How does it help me? I've been in business for 30 years, so I've never had a CRM. I've done great, but typically, first of all, what TopBuilder does is we focus on the commercial construction space, general contractors and specialty contractors, typically mid to large, over $20 million contractors. And what it does, CRM, most people think about a Salesforce or a HubSpot or something like that. But what a CRM is specifically when it comes to construction, it's a collaboration tool. When bid opportunities come in, lots of people get involved. There's a process that's it's a process to assess the deal, to screen the bid, to capture the bid, to let everybody know it's there, identify when the bid is due. A lot of our contractors will get as many as 50 bid invitations a day, and they have to assess which ones to go after, which ones they want to pass on or no bid. And some of these bid invitations are actually for the same job. If you're a roofer or electrical contractor, you may be getting multiple bids for the same job. So a CRM for construction is a collaboration tool to manage those bids and manage that process, to screen them, to score them, to assign them to estimators, to project managers, to sales teams, and then manage that entire process where you're working on the bid, deciding whether you want to actually bid the job or no bid the job, to actually prepare a proposal and submit a proposal, and then also communicate back to the submitter of the bid invitation to say, hey, we are intending to bid this job, or we're going to pass. And then, of course, you want to communicate back to them with the bid itself. And that whole process takes a long time, capturing the bid, assigning estimators, project managers, so on and so forth. It's a very long process, especially with all the manual data entry. And having a CRM designed for construction streamlines all of that and automates all of that. Now, that's the first part. Now, the dashboards and the analytics portion of it is really helping companies report on all of that activity. So, that activity where they're getting all these bid invitations, they're submitting bids, they're trying to understand what won-loss ratios, what bid activity is out there. There's a tremendous amount of things going on. The dashboards and the analytics helps prepare those reports and those dashboards real time. Whereas most construction companies today spend a tremendous amount of time entering that data into Excel or maybe another reporting software or something, and this really cuts down on the time it takes to prepare those forecasts, those won-loss ratios, those kind of activities.
Yeah, it is huge. It's just all aspects of having this type of a CRM system in place with the analytics partnered. It's staggering how much more efficient and profitable you can be with this stuff. So Rocco, let's wake you up over there in the corner. We're partnered up, right, as TopBuilder partners here at ZenTek. What prompted us to connect with TopBuilder, right? And how have clients been responding to that partnership?
Yeah, so thankfully, it was actually Dave that reached out to us several months ago. So we're relatively new as partners to TopBuilder, and Dave connected with us. He found us online as Procore certified consultants, and thought that we would be a great fit to work with his team, and sure enough, we are, right. I mean, it's adding the CRM component for construction. It just another complementary solution to everything else that we do here at ZenTek. And folks are there's a need out there. I mean, we're having regular conversations. Not that, as you can imagine, there's a lot of data that's out there. So managing the relationships, to managing the bids, to tracking all the emails and everything that goes on in the process is hugely important. And there's a lot of firms that have a lot of disorganization. So TopBuilder is definitely of interest, and we're having regular discussions around the solutions.
Yep. Yeah. It's really impressive stuff. So look, it's one thing, I guess, to talk about, software, right? And all the cool things that it can do. But at the end of the day, right, like what Dave was saying, it has to serve a purpose, right? Construction people face just massive communication, data, and organizational challenges that can completely destroy your project's budget, right? If it's not carefully and professionally controlled, right? And to my thinking, that is exactly where a CRM becomes such an invaluable tool. So Dave, let me ask you this: what do you think are the major pain points that construction people are facing that a tool like TopBuilder addresses?
Yeah, I love that question. And let's focus on the major ones right now, because there's a lot, but I like the way you phrased the question, because at TopBuilder, and I think most people should be doing this, and that is to focus on pain points and not necessarily features and functions. And here at TopBuilder, and I know ZenTek's the same way, which is one reason why we're such good partners, is that we want to address people's needs and their pain points and not try to disrupt their organization by changing their processes. Their processes are good, but there's pain points along the way, and we don't want to change all that. We want to just make it better. And so, and by the way, some of these things were surprising to me when I started TopBuilder 17 years ago, that these are some of the pain points I heard. But one of the interesting ones, and I'll just start with this one because it's probably the most common one we get, and that is, and it's a symptom of the industry, is they want their data in one place. Okay, and they're maintaining data in different environments, different silos, whether it be estimating, job cost accounting, project management, ERP, whatever. They've got all their data all over the place. And so they always come to us, and they don't know exactly what a CRM is supposed to do for them, but they come with their pain points, and they say, well, I want my data in one spot. And that's kind of an answer. So we're like, okay, but why? What is the pain point there? And it goes back to that pain point where they're spending a tremendous amount of time doing duplicate data entry and then trying to get reports out. Okay, major pain points: duplicate data entry and getting reports out. So we try to bring all that together in one place for them. Also, streamlining that process, and it is a process: capturing the bid invitation, assessing it and scoring it, assigning it, sending out alerts, putting it on a bid calendar. All of those things, that whole process is not efficient. And by the way, people are not all sitting next to each other. They're in the field, they're in the office, they're at home, they're in different offices. And so collaboration and coordination across the marketing teams, the sales teams, the estimating teams, the project teams is really, really important for them. It's a pain point because they have their whiteboards, they have their spreadsheets, they have their emails, but that's not coordination. Okay. I already mentioned spending a lot of time managing the bidding cycle and capturing data to prepare reports. And there's kind of switching gears just a little bit here into the analytics and reporting side of things, there's a couple things there that we hear a lot of. Forecasting labor, cash, revenue, commitments is a challenge. They're not able to project revenue. They're not able to project cash flow. They're not able to project labor requirements, except for, doing it in Excel. And then the other thing, and this will be the last one, it could go on for a long time, but job cost performance tracking, knowing where you stand against your budget or your estimates. And that even includes while the job is still under construction. So you're running over budget on labor. They need to know that right away so they can go salvage that and make sure they don't go too far over budget and lose money on the job. That is a big deal. And making sure that they get notifications when they go over budget or about to go over budget, and use that information also to bid new projects so that they don't lose money on future projects. I mean, sorry to go on and on, but these are a lot of pain points that we hear that we really want to address.
Yeah, and like you said, there's 1,000 more. I did want to say it's actually funny to me because it's something that I talk to people about every single day, and it's that concept you hit on about data silos and having your information in different locations, right? And being able to put it all together into a CRM like this and have it in one location. I was talking to somebody the other day and I was explaining the concept to him, and he didn't seem to be getting it, so I broke it down. I said, look, man, it's like you're trying to cook a spaghetti dinner, but the garlic is in the garage, and the tomatoes are still out on the vine, right? And the salt is in your upstairs bedroom. It's not a really effective way to cook. You're constantly running back and forth, and you're going to forget things that way. And nothing's going to cook and be time to get in. You want all your spices and your ingredients in the kitchen, right? Where you're working, And that seemed to get through
I like
them.
That. That's great.
So, but yeah, I mean, look, those are all very legitimate pain points and problems, right? That we work with people every day here at ZenTek. And I think it's really important in this field that you've got a developer like Dave who is building out his system with real construction issues in mind and not just, throwing out, features and, there are new dark light modes with, this update, right? It runs a little bit faster, right? And that's great, but it's the pain points that he just went through that are the real concerns that each and every one of us deal with every single day. So Dave, let me do this. I'm going to take you back to your list of pain points, if you don't mind.
Okay.
How does TopBuilder, and I know we can't get into like step-by-step details on an audio set, but how do you specifically address those major pain points?
Yeah. So that's a really good question, because you have to be very methodical about how you do it, and it has to be done right. Because, well, I mean, these construction companies depend on this stuff once they sign up and start using it. And so, starting at the the data side of things, having the essential integrations in place handles having the data in one place and having it in one place real time. And when I say essentials, there's a bunch of job cost accounting platforms out there that, we integrate with, and everybody knows what they are. The project management platforms, the estimating platforms, the ERPs, having those in place, and we've had these in place for over a decade, so they're very mature. Integrations is key to solving a lot of these problems. And then automating the capture and scoring and assignment of leads. And when I say lead, I'm kind of speaking in CRM terms. I mean, a bid invitation is a lead. Somebody sends you an invitation to bid on a project, no matter who it comes from, the owner, property management company, construction management company, or a GC to a sub. A bid invitation is a lead. It's an opportunity to bid work and to do work. Capturing those and then automatically scoring them, assigning them to the proper individual, sending out alerts, setting calendar appointments. And by the way, the calendar appointments are in your Outlook or your Google Calendar or whatever calendar you're using. Having that really, really helps, because most people's eyeballs are on their calendars anyways, or in their Outlook anyways. So having that all tied into Outlook helps streamline and coordinate and collaborate on all these things. And then, we have a tool called Contractor BI. It's a trademark dashboard and analytics product that we developed, handles the reporting and the forecasting and the job cost performance tracking, all in real time, by the way. So, I mean, those things really, cover 80% of the pain points that we see.
Nice. And just so everybody knows, we Contractor BI, we had Rob, Dave's right-hand man on from TopBuilder. He was on a few episodes back talking about that. So if you guys haven't listened to that one, go check in and hear all about Contractor BI and what that does, which is amazing. All right, I tell you what, folks, we are going to take a break here, kind of let our sponsors have a word. But when we get back, I want to get Dave's thoughts kind of on the overall state of technology in the construction space and where he sees it going. All right. So stand by, folks. We'll be back in just a minute with more of the CADDle Call Podcast. Hey, everybody. It's Jim and Rocco from ZenTek Consultants with you once again. And I want to talk to you guys today about a fantastic set of products that we have available for all of our Bluebeam users out there. And we talk about Bluebeam and its power all the time on the podcast. And one of the things that we've done is we've put together what we call our Zen Estimate tools. All right? These are a series of plug-in tool sets that are designed for really extensive, detailed estimating in the concrete space. We've got them in the steel space. We've got them in the HVAC space. And these are sets of tools that have thousands of available symbols and data and software for pricing and weights and just about everything under the sun that you would want to do and look at in terms of detailed estimating with Bluebeam. It takes you to that next level way beyond what you guys are probably thinking Bluebeam can do. All right? And with that, what we'd like you to do is reach out to us and find out how Zen Estimate can work for your company. Rocco, how do they do that?
Yep, you can hit up our website at zentekconsultants.net. If you go under the software section, you'll be able to see details on our Zen Estimate tools. There's actually videos that show the tools in action as well. So hit up our website, give us a ring, 866-824-4459, or drop us an email, sales@zentekconsultants.net.
There you go. Zen Estimate estimating tools for Bluebeam review can save you hundreds, maybe even thousands of man hours on every one of your projects with consistent, reliable, repeatable results on every job. All right, everybody. Welcome back to the CADDle Call Podcast. We're talking with Dave Knowles of TopBuilder today about the need for CRM-related technology in our daily workflows. And I want to talk in this half of the show about how that type of technology gets configured and implemented and how it ties into the growing adoption of technology in general as the construction industry moves forward over the next few years. So Dave, let's start with how you get folks who may be completely new to the idea of CRMs started in that process, right? What's kind of involved in getting them onboarded with a system like TopBuilder?
Oh, I love that question. Remember at the beginning of the podcast, I was the CRM manager for Hewlett Packard, so I was in my customer's shoes for many, many years, and I had to deal with a vendor. So I get it, and I have that perspective of the customer. And onboarding, candidly, really starts with the demo and when we first start talking to customers. When we start meeting with the customer, we talked about pain points early in the podcast. We start with those. Why did you come to us? What are the pain points that you're trying to address with the CRM? Whether you think a CRM is supposed to handle it or not, what problems are you trying to solve? And what we do is, and we're very methodical about this, is we capture those pain points in the notes of that prospect, of that contractor. And by the way, we use TopBuilder ourselves. I think we should say that. And
it's always good when you use your own product, right?
We do, yeah. Wow, that's crazy, huh? Well, and so what we do is we track those pain points, and we're very very explicit and very obvious that these are the pain points this customer is trying to address with either Contractor BI or TopBuilder. And that way, when we start to set them up and we set up their data, their job types, their divisions, all the, the industries that they work on, their KPIs and things like that, those pain points and those needs directly transition to the implementation. So we set them up properly so that they can track the information and capture the information they need, including connecting to the integrations and Outlook. But also, very importantly, that information gets fed into the training as well. So it goes into the implementation. We set them up according to their pain points. We make recommendations, but then directly into the training to say, okay, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, these are the things that you want to report on. This is how we set you up. Let's show you how to use that with your data and your setup. Very, very, very important for a successful implementation. Otherwise, we're not addressing their pain points. Obviously, connecting their interfaces, whether it be Procore or one of the job cost accounting platforms, candidly, that actually is an onboarding process because it pulls in all their customer data, all their job data, financial data, job history, financial history, even invoice history, and down to the cost code level data into TopBuilder. And as soon as we turn that interface on, their database is full of customers and jobs and financials. And then, of course, we transition into training and ongoing support. And it's very important. Again, I was in the customer shoes for many, many years, and I couldn't get support when I needed it. I couldn't get training when I needed it. So what we have here at TopBuilder is unlimited live daily training. It's web-based. So any Monday through Friday, you can get training and jump into one of our webinars. And we have unlimited email support and unlimited phone support. So that's it.
That's a great setup. And the one thing I always want to really stress, and it was kind of the thing that really drew me to and sold me on partnering up with Dave, aside from the fact that he's a hell of a nice guy. But really the thing about, TopBuilder in general and what doing is what Dave was just saying. And I just want to stress this for everybody who's listening. This is a system that doesn't make you change what you're doing. You're connecting a central control to the data and the processes you're already working with. And man, that makes such a difference for people. It's staggering to me that more systems don't work like that. It's definitely TopBuilder's major benefit. So look, to my mind, a CRM, it's just a vital tool that you need to be able to tie into all of the new tech that's coming out to drive the construction industry forward. We got so many features like, business intelligence and data analytics and even AI. They're all going to change the way we work on a daily basis in the very near term. I mean, they're already doing it today. And I really believe that, companies that aren't actively working to implement those today are just going to get left behind. It's just moving so fast. And I still see a lot of folks who talk about, construction tech, right? Related to things like, BIM and digital twins and even, CNC and printable homes. And those are great and they're all important, but they're much more long-term because of the learning curve and extreme expense involved with using them on a daily basis on the construction side. Right? I know BIM has been alive and well and kicking in the design side for many, many years now. But the real tech revolution, I think, in construction is going to come from intelligent changes to everyday construction management and project control, because they're easy to implement, they have relatively low cost, and they have an immediate positive impact on your bottom line. So Rocco, with the clients that you talk to every day, right? How many of them are seriously looking at, CRM, BI type tech rather than what I call, the pie in the sky projections of, we're going to have fully autonomous building technology in the next 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, all the high end tech sounds great, and there's always people that are living that dream, right? But the reality is there's still a shortage of personnel throughout the construction field, and if you don't have organization with the limited personnel that you have, you're in trouble. And so having a system like TopBuilder and Contractor BI that integrates with the platforms that you already own, it helps you stay more organized, and that's hugely important. That's more important to me and to a lot of folks than it is having the bleeding edge AI capabilities. And not that AI is not already built into TopBuilder, and that's not going to be enhanced even more, but just bring it down to reality, and having the right tools at your fingertips today is critical.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So, Dave, kind of along those lines, right? Where do you see, I guess, the biggest gaps in modern construction technology? What should people be looking at that they just aren't?
Good question. We talked a lot about data being in one place, but that serves a certain purpose to get reporting out and to be able to assess opportunities and analyze your business for sure. Bringing all the data together is one thing people should be looking at. But if you think about how popular AI is and machine learning is these days, well, AI is great and it's going to do some really cool things, but AI needs data. And if you don't have your data in order, if it's a mess, and if it's not in one place, AI is not going to do you a lot of good. In addition to the practical things that I think we're all talking about here, and that is, I need to get some reports out to my management team. And I'm an engineer, so I'm very practical about things, and AI is cool, but I think, tools and the ability to bring all this fragmented and siloed data to one place is a gap. And I will say, it's interesting. We've been around for 17 years, and CRM and pre-construction has never been much of a focus for a lot of the big names that are out there. I'll just throw out a few: Procore, Trimble, Sage. I mean, Sage has a generic CRM. It's not for construction. There has not been a focus on pre-construction in all these years. It's kind of weird. You look at all the big guys; they don't have a CRM or a collaboration tool, but they got really, really good tools to track time on the job, and they have really, really good tools to track, job performance, and of course project management, things like that. But the pre-construction before you get the job has not been a focus, and I think we're going to see a shift there to try to make sure that the companies that are out there bidding on jobs are doing that right. Because I've said this for years. Construction companies do two things: they bid jobs and they do jobs. and the part about getting ready for that bid and screening your bids and rallying the team around the bid opportunity has not been a huge focus. So that's what I think.
I think that makes sense. And I would say I like what you just said, and it makes absolute sense to me, and I think it's a really important thing. I just reiterate what a key component, right? Everybody that we talk to, everybody nowadays, they want to talk about AI. Oh, AI is going to do this, and I want to get AI, and I'm interested in getting AI to automate every process. But the thing you got to remember, AI is coming. It's going to change everything. But if your data isn't centralized, organized, structured, and ready for the AI, your AI is going to fail. It's step one in moving in that direction. So that's what you guys out there are thinking. You may be on the right track, but you got to set the data first. That's a really important point. I haven't really thought about it that way. I tell you what, when I get a guest, like Dave on the show, a guy who kind of, developed his own system from the ground up, I always want to know where he's taking his software in the future. but also kind of what he sees the industry moving towards as a whole, kind of on the tech front. So Dave, where do you see things in Contact going in the next year or two, and how do you think people are going to make those changes?
Yeah, I love that question too, and it's something we think about a lot. And you're forced to think about AI. I mean, it's everywhere, right? Everybody's talking about it. But to me, I don't. Everybody's heard the hammer and the nail analogy. I'm a hammer looking for a nail, kind of thing. And I do see AI that way a little bit. I mean, everybody wants to get involved in AI. And I think people look at AI two ways. There's the Chat GPT AI where you plug in a problem you have and you get an answer back. That's a really practical use of AI, and I use it probably 100 times a day. But I think that we're going to have this honeymoon period with AI for sure. But then what's going to happen is people are going to settle down and say, okay, what are the real practical uses for it? How are we going to use it to our business? How are we going to apply it? And when we always talk about pain points or use cases, how are we going to apply AI to these pain points and solve these pain points? I mentioned forecasting a couple times already today, and I think that's a really, really good use of AI in the real world. Okay. Yeah. And then I think a lot of what people are going to be doing, there's companies like Snowflake out there and other ones, but another thing that a lot of folks are going to be looking at in the next couple years, I already mentioned the data and prepping the data, but also the presentation layer. AI is really awesome, and it does really, awesome things. But again, you need the data, and you need a presentation layer to make use of the results. So yeah, it'll spit out an answer, but how are you going to share that answer? Is it going to be in some dashboards or analytic technology? Is it going to be, the agents and the chat things are pretty cool where you ask a question and get an answer back. But how are people going to use it in that way? How are they going to present the results and make use of the results is, I think, where the big focus is going to be. So again, to reiterate that, the data and the presentation layer to make use of the AI in the real world is where I think it's going. That's what we're doing, at least.
And that makes sense. I mean, and like you said, that presentation layer is a vital component because, oh, great, I can get AI to generate all this information for me. And then if I just put it into an email or an Excel spreadsheet, we're back at square one. It didn't really help us. It'll help you gather stuff faster, which is a benefit, but you're trying to make it a much more intelligent process. All right, so I tell you what, folks, like all listeners know what I always do when we have a guest on is I like to let them tell us something that I didn't know I should ask them about. So I'm going to do that for Dave. So Dave, what else should people be thinking about in this, construction technology arena that I was just too dumb to know I should ask you about?
Well, I don't think you're dumb, but
Rocco does.
There's some interesting things that I see when I got into this industry. One of the things I worry about a lot is there's some distrust out there that I have seen. A lot of contractors, commercial contractors, have been burned in the past. With software companies or consulting companies or advisors that overpromise and underdeliver. I worry about that a lot because that's the industry that we're in. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's really a question, but I think it's a comment that I worry about as a whole in relationship to the industry. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to overcome that very soon. And also the other thing is, I worry about everybody likes to sign up for technology and get a new shiny penny or a new tool in place, but I think they're underutilized, and I think a lot of companies have a lot of good data that's buried in their ERP or buried in their job cost accounting platform, and they're underutilizing that data, and they don't have the tools to make use of it. We're working with some companies like extremely large electrical contractor right now to try to utilize all the data that they have in their ERP. They happen to be on Spectrum, by the way, and what we're trying to do is say, hey, okay, you've got all this great data, but you struggle to understand what your cash flow position is going to look like out, 6 months, a year, 2 years. And that includes not just the data that's in your job cost accounting system, but also what data is in your bidding software, your estimating software, or in TopBuilder in your CRM, in terms of what's in the bidding pipeline. And so let's get a really good picture using all of that data and get the right tool in place to really nail a good cash flow forecast. And that includes, what obligations that we have to pay, commitments on the jobs, what outstanding invoices we have, when are we supposed to collect on those things, payroll data, everything all pulled together to really nail that cash flow. Because if you don't have the cash to go buy equipment, materials, subcontract labor, then you can't run your business. Not effectively, at least. Those are very important things I think the industry is going to be looking at very closely here. And AI is another way to another case for using AI in terms of solving those problems. So,
nice. No, I agree 100% with all of that. All right, folks, I'll tell you what, with that, we're going to get out of here. But I do want to thank Dave one more time for slotting us into what I know is a very busy schedule. So, Dave, we really appreciate it. And I hope Rocco didn't scare you off and you're willing to come back on the show again soon.
Thank you, Jim. We appreciate it.
All right, guys.
Dave.
All right, everybody, we're going to get out of here, and we'll catch you next time on the CADDle Call Podcast. All right, everybody, today's CADDle Call was brought to you courtesy of ZenTek Consultants. That's Rocco and I. ZenTek Consultants works with design and manufacturing firms to help our clients purchase and implement the software that they need in these complex industries. We provide a single point of contact for clients to buy, develop, and learn the most vital software systems for your specific needs. ZenTek strives to be your trusted technology partner from your initial needs all the way through long-term support and training for your entire staff. So Rocco, why don't you tell them how to reach out to ZenTek?
All right, yeah, you can reach out to us through zentekconsultants.net. You can email us at sales@zentekconsultants.net, or you can even call us 866-824-4459.
Excellent. We look forward to hearing from you all.